Got me and my boy Jahi here. About to go on my first real estate deal. All right, well, Jahi didn't want to say in the video. I was 22. I think I had just turned 23. And I had decided that I was going to get my first real estate property. Now, if you rewind a little bit in my life, the biggest thing I've noticed is that the reason I started investing is because of a book that was given to me. It's crazy how life turns out like that. That was the first time I ever read a book about mindsets. And it was very interesting because it was very eye-opening. It was like, mindsets? What's a mindset? So the book was great. It had me thinking about all my previous endeavors with money. I was always a natural saver. Like, my mom gave me money, I'm hiding that. I ain't spending it. If I had to spend money to buy something, forgo that. I don't even want it. So that already gave me a little advantage. I feel like when I got out of high school, I had like $8,000 saved up. To me, that was a lot of money. I know there's a lot of big baller people out there, but to me, that was a lot of money. In the book, it recommended another book, which was Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. A lot of people know that book. And he invests in real estate and gold. And his primary method is to make sure he's investing in rental properties. So that got my interest. So I was like, okay, so why not invest in rental properties? Because I always wanted to invest. I always knew I wanted to make money, but I didn't know how. So this book gave me an option and opened my eyes to how wealthy people potentially do it. And I remember asking my mom, I was like, Mom, look, I had found Zillow, right? I was like, Mom, look, there's houses out there. They're cheap. And just get them. Like, what are you scared of? And so my mom, she's a little risk averse, so she didn't want to do anything, especially after the housing market had just crashed. So my plans got delayed for a few years. But that never left my mind. I was always continuously reading books, and I always knew I wanted to invest in real estate one day. I just remember having multiple conversations at work, just with people in general, about investing in the stock market, real estate, stuff like that, right? Now I'm talking about, oh yeah, the key to wealth is, invest for the long term in real estate, stuff like this, right? I'm like, who are you? Like, who do you think you are telling people some stuff you haven't even done before? And I was like, I haven't even done that before. That's it. I'm getting a house no matter what. I'm doing this no matter what. So I started looking on Zillow and I found the house finally. So I found it. It was listed for like $55,000, right? And so this is the first time I'm, doing anything. So I don't know anything about closing costs and negotiations, right? So I'm like, I clicked on Zillow and, a guy, he messaged back and he was, oh yeah, I'm going to help you find the best house, blah, 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 all this stuff like this, right? I had no clue about houses in general. So brand new, definitely nervous because I was doing it regardless, but I still didn't know what I was doing. And so he said offer $49,000. So I was like, all right, cool. Because I guess it was sitting on the market for a while. And so we offered $49,000, and then they came back with an offer of $54,000. We ended up agreeing for $53,000 with $2,000 in closing costs. So I was like, it's like, take that deal. It's a good deal. I was like, all right, great. I guess I'll get $2,000 for this closing cost thing. It's about $1,700 after the closing costs. So I ended up paying $7,000 down. I'm happy. I finally got my first home. $7,000 was a lot to me at the time, but it still got me ready. I felt accomplished. I felt I finally did what I was telling everybody that they should be doing. I got the house and then I listed it for rental. I wanted at first to do a lot of renovations. I wanted to put a whole bunch of money in there and try to get the rent up by like $100. I was only trying to get $750 for it because my mortgage was about $450. So they gave me about $300 profit, of course, depending on how much maintenance every month. So which for me, that was good. That was cash flow, passive income. So I listed on Craigslist and I was nervous as all get out. I was like, what if nobody wants to move into this house? It was a three bedroom, 2-bathroom house, 1,300 square foot. So it was a reasonable price for that type of house. I was still nervous because you always think, what if? You always pick the worst case scenario. And by the end of the day, I had 14 calls from people trying to rent the house out. So I was very excited about that. I went with the first person that came to me with the money, which later on I found like that might not be the best. And I was very lucky in this scenario because they actually ended up being one of the best tenants I've ever had. All right, fast forward about 3 years. So I spend the majority of my time just using that property for rental income. I end up boosting up the rent by another $100 without having to change anything in the home. But then I got to the point where I was like, let's sell this. Let's go through the whole process because I was very big into flip or flop. I loved how they were renovating their home with the new floorings, new bathrooms. So I made sure I was going to pull out all the stops. Well, I say that, but initially I was going to check it out, but then I ended up just redoing pretty much everything. So I found some guys. I got very lucky because when you know people, you know, I'm getting very low prices because a lot of people that aren't in the construction business, if they're not like professional established, they're just trying to get work. So they're going to be at the cheapest price. I'm learning that's not always the best, but that's what ended up happening. Had a few encounters in a situation. Guy said it was going to take about 2 weeks. Ended up taking a month and a half, of course. Got to a point where, I'm in South Dakota, so I'm trying to call and see what's going on with my property, and no one's answering the phone. So I have my little sister go over there for me, and the people are just asleep in my house. Just like sleep on the floor with the whole family in there. It's like, what is going on? Like, they moved their family in there to sleep while they were working. I don't know, but that's what ended up happening. And this is after I haven't heard from them in 2 weeks. Apparently, one of them hurt themselves and they didn't want to tell me. It's crazy. Long story short, I got the house renovated. It only cost me about $12,000. So I finally got the house renovated, but now I'm trying to figure out how much to list it for. The previous agent I had, they were like, you can probably only get like $63,000. And I was like, there's no way. I've looked at other homes myself and I saw that they were selling for like 70 and they were terrible. I had another agent, which I work with now, call me, and she was really good. She called me, she was like, hey, look, I think you can get this much for a house. You can get at least 79. I'm a hustler. I'll make sure I get it done. I was like, that's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear somebody saying, you maybe get 63. I want to hear the person that's going to tell me, this is how much you're going to get. I'm going to make sure you get it. So I ended up going with her. We actually ended up listing it for a little bit more than 79. I think listed for 82,000. And in 3 days, I had a full price offer. Actually, it was above asking. They just wanted a little bit more on closing costs. So that has vastly messed up my expectations of how houses go, since the first house I renovated sold above asking very quickly. So that kind of messed me up, but it was an exciting day for me. Hit the quad, hit the quad, hit the quad. I made $20,000 in profit after the sale. That's after renovations, closing, the whole works. I made $13,000 over the years for my tenants paying me and me paying the bank. The difference just was saved into another account. I got my check for $32,000 and I was super excited. I've never had a check that big. I didn't think it was real at first, but of course that's just gross. Of course I have to subtract how much I actually spent to get the property up in value. I hope you like my video. Please like and subscribe. I'm on property number 5 now. I have a whole bunch of other stories, evictions, fights, holes in walls, other renovation stories, the whole works. I really want to give a lot of information for new investors to not make mistakes that I've made, and also just tips and tricks that I've learned over the years. Again, please like and subscribe, and until next time.